Now the rematch that sailing has been waiting for. It's Peter Burling against Jimmy Spithill and Sir Ben Ainslie going head-to-head in SailGP.
What's the right, first right?
And they're racing identical state-of-the-art catamarans with no design advantages or handicaps. It's simply man-on-man and crew-on-crew.
All right, coming.
Plus 5 other world champions and Olympic gold medalists, including Tom Slingsby and Nathan Outteridge, who think they can take them down too.
Come on.
I love this job.
Welcome to Bermuda Sail Grand Prix, presented by Hamilton Princess. This island country, located just over 600 miles off the east coast of the United States, is the site of the first event of the 2021 SailGP campaign. These waters played host to the 2017 America's Cup and have long been a sailing mecca as the Great Sound and its picturesque turquoise blue waters now welcome the world's best inshore sailors. 8 national teams now begin the journey to determine who is the best. Give you an idea of the circuit in 2021 and 2022 for SailGP. We start things off here in Bermuda at the Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess, and then it's moving on to June to Italy. After that, it's on to July, Great Britain, and then the Rockwool Denmark Sail Grand Prix in August. Second half of the schedule looks like this as we make the turn. It's France in September, Spain in October, and then down to New Zealand in January of 2022, before capping things off in the grand final of the United States Sail Grand Prix, March 2022 in San Francisco. Well, we're just about set to go sailing. Before we do that, we want to introduce you to the best skippers in the world as they have made their way to Bermuda. The battle begins here in Bermuda between 8 of the world's most talented helms. Leading the line for the reigning champions of the Australia SailGP team is Tom, the gunslinger Slingsby, one of the most successful sailors of all time. 9 world championships, an Olympic gold medal, and an America's Cup win with Oracle Team USA. The Spanish team are looking to one of the world's most experienced helms with Phil Robertson. The 3-time world champion made his mark on SailGP Season 1, taking the China SailGP team to a podium finish. The Denmark SailGP team, presented by Rockwool, are led by their countryman Nikolaj Sehested, with over 100 regatta wins to his name across different classes, like the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup and Rolex Fastnet. Flying the flag for one of the world's greatest sailing nations is Billy Basson. He is a multi-time world championship winner across 4 different classes, but has so far struggled to translate that to SailGP. His career might just be on the line. Flying high from a runner-up finish in Season 1 is Nathan Outteridge for the Japanese team. He's won Olympic gold, countless world championships, widely regarded as the most talented helm in the fleet. The USA SailGP team has a new leader who needs no introduction, Jimmy Spithill, an athlete who thrives on pressure. He's taken on nearly every challenge the sport has to offer, and now he's joined SailGP to take a shot at sailing's biggest prize. Sure to be standing in his way is the most successful Olympic sailor of all time, Sir Ben Ainslie. Once teammates with Spithill, the Brit has a ruthless streak, and every athlete who has competed against him knows all too well what he is capable of. Completing the lineup is Peter Burling. The quiet Kiwi lets his skill do the talking on the water. 9 world championships, Olympic gold, and the current holder of the America's Cup. Much of the fleet has tried and failed to beat him, so he arrives in SailGP with a target on his back. With $1 million on the line, the competition is going to be explosive. There's scores to be settled and careers on the line. This is SailGP.
So with no advantage in equipment and a beautiful day and a fast racetrack, it is going to be on today, day one, SailGP. Yesterday, not the same conditions, but we talked to all the helmsmen and got their take on how practice sessions went.
You're not in boundary, you're in ley line, boys.
Compared to season one, they've actually put more boats in a smaller area and said good luck. Watching the practice racing unfold, there was a high error rate, lots of mistakes.
To have the lineup of talent that we have now, we haven't seen that for a long, long time, if ever. So that's why we're all so excited to see how this race is going to play out.
It's been a long time since we've raced. Everyone's feeling the pressure.
This is taking it to a whole new level and a whole new audience. It's going to be some of the most exciting racing people have ever seen.
Well, due to COVID-19 protocols, SailGP is not running its normal spectator and hospitality programs. However, the Bermudian government is allowing families to come to the water in their own boats. Alongside five-time America's Cup crewman Freddie Carr and two-time Olympian and former world champion Stevie Morrison, Allie Vance reporting from the water. I'm Todd Harris. Glad to have you with us as Freddie and Stevie now take us through the lineups of the 8 spectacular teams competing here in Bermuda.
Helmsman Tom Slingsby openly talks about how much it hurt him being reigning champion and getting knocked down by the British in his home waters. He's also lost his long-term coach Philip Presti, now working with the USA. But Slingsby knows Bermuda waters really well and he's going to come out punching.
Well, Ben and the boys arrive with a bang to the first event of season 2. Jensen and Parkinson's ability to sail the boat on the edge mean 4-time Olympic gold medalist Ainsley can work his tactical magic. They start this event here in Bermuda as favourites for me.
Searstead has had his team camped out in the cold Danish winter, putting in hours in smaller training catamarans. But how will that translate to the powerful F50? The chat is often about the long game, but they've got to show off some of their pre-event gains in Bermuda.
The cheeky Kiwi Phil Robertson remains at the helm of the Spanish boat for now. The young guns from Spain may not be household names yet, but with Trittle and Botan already amongst the hottest property at the Olympic sailing scene, they are surely the ones to watch.
Billy Besson and his French team need to restart SailGP Season 2, having finished last in the season opener. He's stuck with Morvan and his flight controller, and they've got to improve their manoeuvres. Their big signing is Lee McMillan, a sailing expert in stadium racing, and I hope his French is coming on really well.
All change at Japan as Outeridge mixes it up. In comes Olympic medalist Chris Draper on wing trim, and Italian sailing hero Francesco Bruni is flying the boat. If this team can gel quickly, they will be at the sharp end of the racing.
The arrival of Burlington Took in New Zealand has been the most anticipated of Season 2. They've arrived with a new playbook for their manoeuvres, but it's proving inconsistent for now. When things click, they're going to get going. They're going to move up the leaderboard when they learn the F50 on sailing's ultimate level playing field.
Seismic changes to the USA team. Everyone is off the boat other than Rome Kirby, who has moved to flight controller. The man wielding the axe needs no introduction. Jimmy Spittle is known for his no-nonsense approach, and we look forward to seeing how he adapts to SailGP.
Well, USA SailGP team helmsman and CEO Jimmy Spithill knows these waters better than most. And moments ago, we caught up with him before race 1 here at SailGP and here in the beautiful waters of Bermuda.
Hey Jimmy, welcome to SailGP. Beautiful day out on the water in Bermuda, it looks like. What are going to be the key points for you to focus on today?
Yeah, it's a fantastic day. The racetrack looks awesome. Plenty of opportunities out here. I think the focus for us will just be trying to stay clean, just keep the mistakes down and just try and work our way around the course.
That sounds good. We're pretty excited about seeing 8 of these F50 catamarans heading into Mark 1. Be honest with us, any nerves on board the boat there?
Oh, it's going to be exciting, yeah. I think everyone, not all the teams, are looking forward to it. It's the first time we've had this many boats all on the same start line and that first reach. So yeah, it should be incredible.
I know you always like to play things down for yourself, but who do you see as the team to beat other than yourself in this event here in Bermuda?
I think it's way too early to say, mate. You know, we've really got to get this day's racing under our belt and just sort of see who can get through the cleanest.
That was a beautifully political answer. Thanks for that, Jimmy. I hope you have a great day's racing and look forward to seeing what you can do.
Well, it has been a thundery week here in Bermuda. Spithill and the other teams, I suppose, struggled to get as much training done out on the water as I'm sure they would have liked to have done. But a different feel today, perfect racing conditions. I'm standing on the seawall next to the boat sheds overlooking the racecourse, and the sunshine is beaming down on the aquamarine clear waters. It's picture perfect. Winds around averaging 26 kilometres an hour, gusting up to 35, coming from the northwest, and it's those gusts that are important as well as any potential shifts. Earlier, defending SailGP champion Tom Slingsby on the Australian F50. He told me that he thinks it'll be shifty at the top of the course, and that's where he says he wants to try and make gains on his competitors. So let's have a look then at the course in more detail with Stevie Morrison.
Well, high over the Bermuda Great Sound here, the ghost boats are going to show us that there is always more than one option to find the fastest way around the 7-kilometre course. There's tactical opportunity at each turning mark. As we follow the boats, the crews will be executing pre-race plans. 2 kilometre between the gates. Into the wind, it's all about speed and tactics. 4 minutes to find more wind and better angle as you progress fastest up the course. Downwind, it's fast and furious. Hold your nerve for the 2-minute charge down the course. Just 10 minutes after the start, and it's last chance for our skippers to gain valuable places and points. No room for error on this stadium course. And it's interesting to look at that on the wind there. Great breeze all over the racecourse. And I think we can expect gusty conditions at the top of the course, as Ali mentioned.
So I don't know if there's a more beautiful stadium setting than we have here at the Great Sound in Bermuda, just outside of Hamilton, as we get set to go with the first race scheduled today of 3, as we are now 2.5 minutes under. And this is going to be an interesting situation as you see the Danish team right now, Stevie. It looks like they have all gotten off the boat.
Well, 2 minutes 19 to go until the start, and I certainly wouldn't want to be alongside my coach boat, but I think they've been having a few issues on board, a few last-minute bits of advice, but good to see they're all on board. 2 minutes 10, they're already going to be into their pre-start routine here. They'll need to be getting round and getting themselves in position. These boats will be wanting to hit the start line on the beer the bang at 0, so they need to be quite quick from here on in.
Nikolai Sahested, one of the new teams here, the helmsman for Denmark's SailGP team. There you see the rest of the fleet. 8 boats with the world's best sailors taking place here in a very small course. That's a lot of talent out there as we come up on 1:40 to go before the start of race 1.
Quiet on board the Danish boat there. They'll be in a pre-prepared plan here. A few little comments about the breeze. They're trying to watch the best wind, but they'll have already decided where they want to be on the start line at this point.
Going behind them. Staying foiling. Yes.
Great Britain SailGP team, Sir Ben Ainsley, 5-time Olympian, 4-time Olympic gold medalist, running the show there.
Turning down here, quiet on board the boat.
More down here. Okay, stand by, jibe. Right, turning, your wheel. Behind.
So we won't see a jibe like that in the race. That was a slow speed jibe, boat looking a little bit jumpy in the water, and that's Ainsley positioning his boat. The fact he bore away suggests he wants what we'd call the leeward end of the line. The end of the line to the right-hand side of the picture as we look at it, as that's going to get him on the inside coming into Mark 1. He's out the back at the moment, but will he find a gap? The boats are all well lined up. 27 seconds to go, and it's Ainsley and Tom Slingsby on the Australian boat up towards this top end of the start line. Already very tight. Ainsley blocking out Slingsby as Outeridge comes in below Ainsley. I love the control that Ben Ainsley has of this start line at the moment, but he's going to have to watch out because Nathan Outeridge on the Japanese boat is really pinning him up towards this end of the line. 7 seconds to go. Who's timed it well? The Spanish up at the top of the line, but the boat's turned down towards the line, and from nowhere Tom Slingsby's found a gap in the middle of the line. Brilliant starts. And it's Slingsby on board Australia with a beautiful start out of the middle of the line. Can he hold off the fast-charging Spanish as we sprint towards mark number 1, these F50 catamarans, over 80 kilometres an hour?
A beautiful overhead shot of the entire fleet, and SailGP is underway here in Bermuda. This is going to be a key as they come up on Mark 1. Remember, 7 legs in this first race.
It's tight into Mark 1, but the Spanish look like they may have just snuck forward. No, Slingsby holds control into Mark number 1, millimetres in it as he rounds here. And Billy Besson on the inside with the French boat. These boats all line up now around Mark number 1, and it's about setting up into downwind mode. Good boat speed, and you're looking at the leeward marks already. We're already preparing for these fast approaching leeward marks, but what we will like is to be in Tom Slingsby's position. As he approaches the boundary, he's going to have right of way here. Let's listen in.
Easing. Forward down. 6, 2, 1, and regather.
Big moment on board the Australian boat there. We saw the boat lose control as he went into the jibe. Poor drop there. There's going to be a penalty for Australia, penalty for Spain for going outside the boundary. They need to lose 2 boat lengths, but that was a bad boat handling manoeuvre by the Australians. Was he pushed off the course by the French?
And meanwhile, New Zealand going to the inside. It was Great Britain and Ben Ainsley that made the first maneuver. And Stevie, that was a major mistake for the Australians after they had that lead.
He doesn't seem to be able to get the boat under control. Something wrong when the board dropped down. It was tight with the French, but it's Besson who's come out of that with the back. No penalty for the French. He clearly dealt well, and he should now be set up for a smooth rounding at this leeward gate. But look how tight these first 4 boats are. And New Zealand coming in with the right of way on starboard. All the other boats must stay out of Berling's way. Hold on to your hats, folks.
Straight through here. Cruise lifting up. Yeah, coming up. Mark, Spain. Victorum.
Oh, tight rounding there. The Spanish came out of that the best. They weaved their way through there. Very tight situation. Brilliant work by Phil Robertson. But it's the French, Billy Besson, the Spanish in second, New Zealand and Peter Burling up to third, and Jimmy Spittle, I'm not sure where he came from, but in fourth. Well, what a moment in the race there. These are some of the people we did not expect to see at the front of the race performing brilliantly.
So if you like those first 2 legs, welcome to SailGP. It's like 8 Ferraris going into the carpool lane and everyone looking for the best spot. And problems on board as France gets a little loose.
Big mistake in the tack there, Todd. Yes, flying the boat out of the water. We can see this first lap, the boats are so close, and you can't choose when you manoeuvre very easily. You've got to be able to manoeuvre these boats perfectly, and in these gusty winds, nothing's easy. Watch out here. Spain and Australia, tight cross, right of way is with Australia. Spain potentially going to have to drop behind.
Gust on now.
So it's Spain that dips below as they try to cross the fleet. And look at this, Australia with the penalty, so they'll have to absolve that penalty. Meanwhile, it's USA, France, and Japan out in front. And look at this change of leadership.
Look how tight it is, Todd. 4 boats within millimetres as they move up the course. The ladder rung here. It's going to come down to the detail of the manoeuvres at this stage. Freddie Carr, it's all really tight early on in this race.
It was very interesting looking at the tack out on that boundary. I was looking at France, USA out on that boundary, and I was looking at the bottom speed, and the French had a bit of a sticky tack. They went down lower with their bottom speed than the Americans, but they're locked together in this drag race for first place.
It's really, really tight. The French are going to have the tack on the boundary. Jimmy Spittle's done a nice job. I think for me at this point on this upwind leg, Fred, I'm trying to find a bit of space. Can I sail the boat as quickly as possible? Can I make those tacks? Look at the French. They're renowned for their not having the manoeuvres quite perfect. Once again, that's 2 out of 2 tacks where they put the boat in the water. You've got to be up on the foils like the Americans are here. Keep the boat going fast.
Nice, yep. Good. One and in here. Yep, copy, speed. Oh, when you got it. Yep, all hard now. Yep, behind the speed.
So, fellas, you hear all the talk on board. It's going to be 1 and in. It sounds like Spittle's pretty happy with his positioning right here as they come up on leg 4.
I think when you're listening on board these boats, if the conversation is based in the future, that's a boat sailing well. Jimmy Spittle, 1 manoeuvre, and then he's going to be looking at coming into the gate. But it's Billy Besson, the French crew, somewhat upsetting the form guide here. He's found a good shift in the wind. He's progressed up the course fastest. That's a big gain for Besson. Bad tack, but tactically very strong. The boats are going to split the course here at gate number 2. It's the French still leading the fleet away of the first race here in Bermuda. Great action.
3, 2, 1. Initial part slide. Initial part slide. Top going. Keep that rudder in siege. Yep.
And the Americans doing a great job under the guidance of Jimmy Spithill, their helmsman, Rome Kirby, flight control. And guys, that was a perfect maneuver around that mark. They kept it up on the foils and did not dip either hole.
Todd, I'm now dialed into the data coming off the Oracle Cloud, and I'm looking at the fly height of the boats. Effectively, the higher the boat is out of the water, the faster it's going to go. But the higher the boat is out of the water, the more out of control they are.
Well, we just saw in the background, Ben Ainsley and the British crew, they fell off the foils. Besson, top of the screen, he's come off the foils. If any of these boats can stick a few good manoeuvres together, they're going to progress up the fleet very quickly. These gusty winds are proving challenging for the crews to control the boats. It's the best sailors in the world. They're on equal boats, but it's not giving us an equal performance at the moment. How smoothly can you fly the boat? Jimmy Spittle looks like he's got it locked in there, but it's the French coming across from the right-hand side of the screen who have the right of way. It's going to be tight as we approach the bottom. Jimmy Spittle's going to just want space, and he would like a left turn out of the bottom here.
So leg 4 of 7. Besson has got to be the surprise in this race, guys. Coming to this, he was just hoping to get himself a good position, and if they can get a win, this would be huge for the momentum of Billy Besson and France.
Right of way with the French here.
Strong wind. Yeah, left wind with it. Hey guys, front up. 3, 2.
Tight moment in the race there. A lot of water over the French boat. The French still lead. Spittle's misjudged that ley line, getting out the way of the French, and look how slow he is right now as he rounds the mark. Billy Besson, it's messy on board, but he's putting the boat in the right position. Tom Slingsby up into 3rd place, but charging past Spittle here, and the Spanish coming round in 4th. This is an incredible SailGP race we're seeing as a season opener here, and at the moment, here we go. French into attack.
Okay, hold that. Right and good. François, try not to come out too low.
Freddie, I think I've been criticising the French tacks a bit. That was actually a great tack on the boundary there, Freddie.
Yeah, it's a real nice tack. It almost looked like a roll tack. The voice you're hearing there, the British voice on the French boat, is of Lee McMillan. And what I like there, he's live coaching the lads around the race course. He's making sure that every manoeuvre is better than the last.
I think as we move up the course here, it's all about spotting the wind ahead, trying to find the gusts coming down. Now, you can't see the wind, but you can see the wind hitting the water. It presents itself as slightly darker patches, and the crews, if they can find more wind, they're going to sail the boat faster, and you progress up that race course quickest. That's all that matters, getting to the next mark before the next boat.
So here's the situation on hand. On leg 5 of 7, the French have the lead. Tom Slingsby, Australia, sitting in 2nd place, the defending champions in SailGP, and the Americans, who were sitting in 2nd, are now sitting in 3rd.
Great camera angle there. We can see the French to the left of the screen. The water looks a bit lighter to me. There's left wind. Jimmy Spittle and Nathan Outridge over on this side. They're in a dark patch of water as we look at the screen there. They will be going faster. Look, they're up nearly at 60 kilometres an hour. Expect a gain for Spittle and Outridge. Outridge is renowned for finding the wind. He's the wind whisperer. Great in shifty conditions, and perhaps his boat isn't being sailed as well as it could yet, but he's going to look for these opportunities opportunities on the course.
Stay fast, stay fast.
And as we were talking about the French learning on the job, their manoeuvres have got better throughout this race. Their bottom speed in that tack was 42 knots compared to the Australian at 35.
Wow, another close crossing with the Americans and the Australians, as the Americans have to give way to the Australians who sit in second, and it's still France out in front.
Hey, right, then you're in. Yeah. Chef, François.
Here we go, that yellow line there signifies the ley line for the next gate. So we're getting towards the closing stages of the race here. Not a lot of opportunity to make your move. Probably only 3 minutes of racing left. If the French can execute this next bear away well, and a good jibe there in the box seat to win the first race here in Bermuda. Tight race though, but I think the French with good control can go well. Tight cross for Australia and the USA team. Who's going to get round second? It's Slingsby. Great work from Slingsby. And the battle for third, fourth and fifth, it's going to be tight with Ainsley on a charge as he approaches here. Tight with the USA. Whoa, nearly a capsize on board the British boat there. Ben Ainsley at the last moment spins it inside Jimmy Spittle. No penalty on board the British boat as well. He came too close inside Jimmy Spittle, put the boat on the edge. Ainsley pushing to the limit, but pushing too far.
There you see the red light flashing on the back of the boat of Sir Ben Ainsley. They will have to drop back 2 boat lengths, so that gives that position back to the Americans as they will slow up. Meanwhile, France and Australia on the other side of the course having their own battle for first and second.
This is the final downwind leg, and look at the speed difference the French get. Here we go, back on board with the British crew here. Watch this last-minute tack into here, and the wing just doesn't pop. The main wing sail needs to change sides. It doesn't. It's facing the wind the wrong way and blows over. Huge moment in the race, but look in the background. Tom Slingsby, 75 kilometres an hour to 65 for the French. The charging Australian moves through into the lead. What a time to take the lead at this stage here. We're coming downwind, Slingsby into the lead, and it's going to be tight on the boundary. The British still with a penalty to get rid of. Jibe inside the boundary limits. The other boats must give them room.
Yeah, right, okay. Okay, stand by. 1, put down. 2, 5 left. Standing. 3, 2. Yeah, I'm up. 1. Coming up. 2, 1. My rate.
Great last jibe there by the Australian crew and Tom Slingsby, and as we close in at the finish we can see it's tight in the fleet behind, but at the right moment in the race when it matters, Tom Slingsby, defending SailGP champion from Australia, bringing the boat home. He was in 4th early on in the race, but he's moved through the fleet very impressively. And race 1, what a start for the Australian crew. Fantastic action. And in the background, well, they were given a bit of pressure before the start. They needed to perform, and my word, allez les bleus. Billy Besson crosses the line in 2nd place. What a performance for the French crew. Outeridge from nowhere. Here he comes into 3rd place on board the Japanese boat. What a race.
But it's the Australians, the defending champions from last year, that get the win. You called it perfectly, Stevie. They were in a bad place early on, and they found a way to get into 3rd. They had a battle with the Americans. Then they got past the French to grab the win in race number 1. As Jimmy Spithill will not be happy with that performance. They were sitting in 2nd place. They dropped all the way back to 4th. But you've got to think on this first race, and remember, there's 2 more to go, Stevie and Freddie, that Great Britain's got to be the biggest losers on this one.
Big moment there, Ben. We haven't seen mistakes from him, really, and he pushed it in hard. The Kiwi crew here coming through in 6th position for Peter Burling. Well, first race in SailGP, used to winning. He's got a bit of work to do after that one. They won't be happy, but really won't be happy. Sir Ben Ainsley and the British crew, they'd got themselves right back in the race, and it looked to me like a slightly last-minute decision. Didn't get the wing pop right in the tack, and the boat nearly tipped over. And for the pleasure, got themselves a penalty. What a race.
I think we swapped 1s to the upper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116
So now's an opportunity for everyone on board to check things over, have a quick debrief, but not a lot of time to make many changes because it is getting ready now for race number 2. But for the Australians, they've got to feel really good about what they accomplished today on the Great Sound.
Any comms off for us? Yeah, am I off? You're on. Am I off?
Great work there by that Australian crew, and really, Freddie, they just got themselves sailing the boat nice and smooth later on in the race.
Yeah, they had a cracking downwind. They were always there or thereabouts amongst the race in the top 3. And that last downwind, they did a jibe on the right-hand boundary as you look upwind, did a better jibe than the French and burnt over the top of them. But kudos to the French. What a fantastic race from those guys.
Great race, wasn't it? And I think that's going to be a thing for today, Todd. How well can you execute your tacks and your jibes under pressure?
And that's the big question is, how do the France do in race number 2 and 3? The France team, wow, they were sensational early on, but it's Australia that gets the win. The defending champions, Tom Slingsby, the Olympic gold medalist, 9-time world champion, America's Cup winner, and of course, defending that SailGP Cup.
Tom, Freddie Carr here. Wonder if you can hear me. What a cracking start to Bermuda. You popped out the middle of the start line. A brilliant way to open your account.
Yeah, it was a great start for us. We got a good start, and then we're in a real battle to sort of stay in that front pack. But fortunately for us,
so we'll continue to work on the communications to Tom Slingsby on board
and overtake on the last run.
And that first jibe looked a little bit tricky, mate. It wasn't the ideal jibe, but you hung in there, and then an amazing last downwind against the French.
Yeah, the first jibe was a shocker. We popped the windward rudder out, which sort of meant we lost flight control and had a bit of a crash, but recovered. And yeah, the last run with the French, we were ripping down there. We're on our light air boards, but we're still doing 45, 46 knots, so it's pretty impressive.
Hey, unbelievable racing, mate. All the best for race 2.
Thank you very much.
So Australia gets the win in race number 1. Still to come, races 2 and 3 from the Great Sound here in Bermuda.
SailGP, you've got the best sailors, fastest boats, it's intense pressure.
Everyone's got the same gear and it will come down to the best team on the water.
The inaugural race of SailGP, a seminal moment as the event is launched in one of the most iconic settings of all, here in Sydney Harbour as they race around Shark Island. And fittingly, the colours of this inaugural SailGP in Sydney are green and gold.
Welcome to SailGP San Francisco. The wind is building and so is the expectation.
You're under pressure the whole time, and so any tiny weakness and you're going to be exposed.
You get off the boat, let's go race.
It's very close to contact. Tom Slingsby, you've just won here in San Francisco. Welcome to race 1 SailGP here in New York City. Japan to win here in New York City.
Helming an F50 is probably one of the most difficult boats in the world to helm.
There it is for Team Australia. Awesome job. Australia is the 2019 SailGP champion.
And it's Great Britain who take victory of 2020.
This season, it's without a doubt going to be the toughest one. I think we're going to see multiple winners because we have the best guys in the world.
But that's why we compete. You want to test yourself against the best.
An amazing first race of 3 here in Bermuda, and if you're a fan of Australia, you are very happy as Australia Sail GP team gets the win. Tom Slingsby comes from behind to grab the 10 points and the win. 2 more races still to go as we take a look at the highlights with Stevie of race number 1.
Well, the race was spectacular from the start. 18 seconds to go, and we can see Australia's Tom Slingsby stuck out the back, but so often these starts are all about opportunism, and with Outeridge focusing on Ben Ainsley in the middle of the line, a gap opened up for Tom Slingsby. Now it's about time and distance. 3 seconds to go, and the boats are holding for that perfect trigger pull. Here he goes. Tom Slingsby turns the boat for the line. He's over 64 kilometres an hour, 65, crossing the line there. It was Australia and Tom Slingsby out the middle of the line. Opportunist start for Slingsby and a classy start from Besson on the French boat as well. It was Australia, Spain and France that really executed that start well, but I think we're going to see that in this 8-boat fleet. You're going to need to be an opportunist, and along here you need to be brave. How fast are you willing to push? As we come round the mast, we can see that over 85 kilometres an hour as they head downwind here, and Tom Slingsby mentioned in his post-race interview he flew the boat a bit high, got a little bit loose, but he's famous for that. Drive it like you stole it, Tom Slingsby. That's how he loves to sail the boats, right on the edge, but when it goes wrong, that can happen. Too high, rudder pops out the water, and look at that, there's white water all the boat, and the boats go sailing past him. That was a big mistake. But the French crew, well, they had a lot of pressure before the start, but under pressure, you can see how tight they were at several races here. Moments in the race, they were so tight, white water over the boat, but Besson, he stayed calm. The Frenchman stayed calm. Freddie Carr was talking to us about Lee McMillan's addition to the boat. Bit of calm and doing a nice job.
Well, he's a man of few words, but many medals. New Zealand skipper Pete Burling joined SailGP off the back of winning his 2nd America's Cup, leading a team of his country's top sailors, including lifelong sailing partner and winning trophies, Blair Tuke. Burling might not say it himself, but he's one of the most successful athletes. His impressive trophy cabinet contains both silver and gold Olympic medals in the 49er class, an incredible 9 World Championship wins, a round-the-world podium finish, and 2 back-to-back successful America's Cup campaigns.
They probably have the right to be called the best sailors in the world at the moment. 8 F50s on the line, which are the same, and that's going to be who can set the boat up differently, who can sail the boat better, more accurately, and it'll be really interesting to see if they can do that in this class.
They are exceptional sailors, and I'd say if there's a rivalry in sailing that I have, it's more with Peter than it is with Tom. So I'm really looking forward to getting back on the water and racing against Pete, and I think SailGP is going to be a pretty tough event to win moving forward.
The fly the Kiwi flag is something we're really proud of.
An incredibly passionate Kiwi, and really love representing our home nation.
Just looking forward to giving it our best crack and hopefully doing our country proud.
I think something that gave us a lot of confidence coming into this event was how quickly Ben picked it up. We should be able to learn just as quick, if not quicker, than anyone else. I think it's incredibly important to have a team that you trust 100%. Blair and myself have obviously done a lot of sailing together, and I think that definitely helps us.
We're pretty fortunate that most of us on board the boat have raced together since we were really young.
It's really team sport in these things, so it's about everyone in the team, not just 2 people.
And both Burling and Tuke very familiar with these waters in Bermuda, the Great Sound, because they won the America's Cup here, of course, in 2017. Many of the sailors familiar with this stretch of the water. That inside knowledge, so important. The weather then forecast for around 26 kilometres an hour, average wind, gusts up to 35. But actually standing here on the seawall, it feels like the wind has built ever so slightly after that first race. We saw in that first race just how important being able to read the weather out on the course, all the difference that can make. Tom Slingsby catapulting himself into the lead, finding those small pockets of breeze. So expect the same in race 2. We've got flat waters, we've got plenty of wind, we're going to have some good fast sailing. So more of the same coming up in race 2.
Well, they get set now for race number 2 of 3 scheduled here on day number 1. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot to fight for here. So Australia draws first blood as the defending champion, but lots of rivalries out on the water.
Do we have something I can clean this with?
Greatest Olympic sailor of all time is coming on board with the Great Britain SailGP team. Welcome, Sir Ben Ainslie.
To have a circuit in such incredibly high performance F50 foiling catamarans and to bring the best sailors in the world together, yeah, how could you not want to be involved with that?
I believe I'm the best sailor in the world at the moment. There's no one I'm intimidated by, and the guys I have behind me, I know that that's the strongest team in the world. I think we'll prove it.
And what an advantage this is. Tom Slingsby has it all to do here.
What's the rate? What's the rate? All right, coming. Yeah, full speed in. Not good. We can lay right, but I think he's going to have to go left. Yeah.
The Australians now over 400 metres adrift.
2, 1, straight. Your wing, my wing. Right.
And it's Great Britain who take the first victory of 2020.
That was embarrassing for me to have Ben Ainslie come to Sydney on Sydney Harbour, and we were the favourite team and he smoked us. I don't ever want to lose to Ben Ainslie.
Actually, the last 2 match races I enter early. No one ran.
It's really interesting when you talk about rivalries. This fleet is now packed with absolutely the best, inshore sailors in the world.
We've now got the who's who of yachting out there.
I've raced with a lot of these guys, raced against a lot of them. They're all rivals. They're all the best in the game.
Ben Ainslie, Jimmy Spithill, Blair Tuke, Peter Burling, Francesco Bruni. There's no one who's missing anymore.
So you want to beat every single one of them. It's not really that you single out one individual, one team that you have to beat. You've got to beat them all.
I've always competed with Jimmy Spithill, and competing against him will be fun, but he's not the person I want to beat so much. It's Ben Ainslie. Ben kind of made myself and the Australians look pretty stupid last time we raced.
We've got a great team. We proved that in the only event we've sailed in SailGP in Sydney. For the first time sailing together as a team and back in the F50s, we went pretty well.
I've had 14 months to think about it and watch replays, and we didn't show up that day. Ben did, and I want to see who the better team actually is.
So day 1 Bermuda Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess rolls on, and we are less than 1:40 away from the start of race number 2. Conditions, as Al reported, looks like the wind may be building just a little bit, and the pressure now has been applied as Australia draws first blood. The defending champions get the win in race number 1. 2 more races on the day. Freddie, Stevie, this is going to be a really great race, and someone's going to seize control of this thing.
Yeah, and the start is all important, Todd, as we know. I've looked back at start 1. The 3 boats that got to Mark 1 first were the fastest boats when the gun went. That sounds obvious, but it's hard to pull off.
GBR tacking, yep, crossing GBR. I think the windward end will be a little bit more favoured this time than before. Standing by the tack, going board.
Good comms there from Nathan Outridge. He talked about the windward end of the line being favourite. That's the line, that's the end of the line to the left of our screen as we look at it. That's the angle fastest to the next mark, to Mark 1. So Outridge wants to be at that end, and don't think he's the only person in the fleet that's going to know that. 30 seconds to go. To the left of the fleet is Nathan Outridge, the white boat with the red flashes on the wing there. He's definitely positioned himself up there, and his long-term rival Burling. It's going to be a fight for this windward end of the start line with with just 19 seconds to go. Who can get the boat up on the foils? It's Outridge at the windward end, and at the bottom end of the line, it's Ben Ainsley, but it's all about timing now. Who's going to hit the line fastest? It's going to be Tom Slingsby inside, but Outridge, he's where he wanted to be. There's 3 seconds to go. He's up and foiling. He's where he wanted to be. What execution from Nathan Outridge, and there he goes. Outridge off the line fastest. Tom Slingsby was aggressive at the bottom end of the start line, but is Outridge right? He wanted that end of the line. He's got it, and it's Spithill out the back with a penalty as we blast towards mark number 1. It's a test of speed right now.
Come on, boys, come on. Come on, boys. Come on. We go. Aussies inside us, just going to follow their line. Little soft here.
Now what a great shot as the entire fleet heads to mark number 1. You saw the helicopter overhead, the beautiful waters of Bermuda, and it is on race number 2 from Bermuda.
Mark 1, it's Australia and Tom Slingsby in the lead. He went so fast across there. I gave Outridge the start, but it was Slingsby that sailed fastest across there. Slingsby and Outridge, where have we heard that before? The 2 SailGP veterans leading round mark number 1, and they streak away downwind. 3rd place for Sejersted of Denmark, and Besson once again in the mix in 4th. It's a good start to race 2, and the boats will already be preparing for the choice of mark to take at gate number 2. You've always got an option there, left or right. They'll be looking for wind, looking for opportunity.
2. Lock, hold, please, hold. Locked, spinning. Angle. All right. Copy.
Good work there from the Australian crew. It's interesting, you heard Jason Waterhouse coming in the middle there. He's the flight controller. To jibe one of these boats, it's not one person on its own, it's 4 or 5 of them all over each other, talking, how can we help each other, how can we get it round? And now, great camera angle. I see wind for a left turn. No surprise to see Slingsby taking the left turn, trying to keep it simple, but he's trying to find more wind. Outridge, no fall, follows him round. They're all got their head out, looking for wind, and Freddie, it looks pretty good on the right-hand side of the course to me.
It looks really good on the right-hand side where the Australians and the Japanese are heading. The wind is shifting around a little bit though, Stevie. You can see the angles of the mark exits are varying a lot across the fleet.
It's all about wind speed to get yourself going faster, or wind direction to sail a shorter distance. They're always your options. Either one can help you progress up the course fastest, and Sir Ben Ainsley, well, he turned right. He obviously saw something a little bit different, and we're going to see how that tactical play works out for him, Fred.
And I'm looking at the wind coming off the Australians on the right-hand side and the wind coming off the British boat on the left-hand side, and they are a little bit softer on the British boat, but they have got clear air, sort of non-disrupted air to sail in, so the race course is open for the British.
So it's Australia out in front here, leg 3 of 7. Japan sits in 2nd, Denmark up to 3rd, and the Americans who finished 4th in race number 1 are currently sitting in 7th.
The start of these races are so crucial, and Spithill had a problem. He had a penalty at the start. He had to hold back behind the fleet, and that's put him on the back foot. It'll be interesting to watch him progress through this race, as out in front, Tom Slingsby, well, he said he's the best sailor in the world and he feared no one, and rightly so at the moment. New position there, he's keeping himself low in the boat for windage, and here they go, into attack to cover the fleet.
2, 1, locked. Angle.
Boy, guys, that was a thing of beauty right there. Look how they kept the holes up and out of the water. Just a small splash right there, but their speeds still hovering right around 45 kilometers an hour, now approaching 50.
Yeah, those maneuvers do slow you down, Todd, but the Australians, that was a solid move. It's hard in these gusty winds. You never know exactly what's coming, but again, eyes forward of the boat. You can see the best wind coming, and look at that, Freddie. Australians, all of them low in the boat.
Yeah, and the reason they're low in the boat is they're not moving the wing as much as the other boats behind them. They're playing the wing twist, which is the back bit of the wing. I'm looking at the numbers here, and the Australian wing twist is moving non-stop versus the Japanese and the British.
Gate number 3 coming up here, and the Australians look at that lead, over 120 metres ahead at this stage. That yellow line on the screen symbols the ley line. This should mean the last move into the gate here, and if I'm that far ahead, I'm very keen to try and keep things simple. That's easy for me to say. I expect a left turn from Tom Slingsby and his Australian crew here, and a good chance to extend away on this next downwind leg.
Hey, taking some rudders off, copy. Bearing away in 2, 1. Bearing away. Get both. Yeah.
Another masterful maneuver by Tom Slingsby in Australia. Remember, they won race number 1, so they already picked up the 10 points, the max. Japan sits in 2nd right now, and this race, guys, different than we saw in race number 1. Really spread out a lot more.
Here we go.
Well, good rounding by the Japanese there. I love the communication coming off the boat. In this gusty condition, communication is key, Todd. You've basically got one guy driving the boat, one guy on the wing, one guy foiling the boat. If you don't communicate well, it's going to go wrong. And these top boats are doing a great job. Middle of the pack, Denmark 3rd place, Spain in 4th. And Sir Ben Ainsley, he's back in 5th. He will not be used to that. Not a lot of the race left. We're halfway through this race now as we come downwind.
3, 2, 1, lock. On angle.
What have you seen out there, Freddie?
I was just looking at the data for that first upwind. Not only were the Australians sailing faster than anyone else, but they sailed the shortest distance up that beat.
I think that's good info there. The guys have got to have their head out of the boat, and we've got Tom Slingsby giving us a private run down this leg.
Yeah, trying to get some depth. Pressure doesn't look great.
Well, I remember that from my first sailing when I was with my dad. You've always got to know where the mark is, and that's Tom Slingsby and Carl Langford having that same chat at 70 kilometres an hour on a downwind.
Just how comfortable were they there? Just pointing out the marks, looking around, totally in control of that vessel.
Going max diff in 2, 1. Max diff, turning up, 2, 1. Turning up.
Turning up there, that's Tom Slingsby in Australia in the lead, and he's only extending away here. It's a masterclass from Slingsby, Langford and Waterhouse there. They're sailing this boat smoothly. Again, look at that dark patch of water they're sailing back towards there. He's seeing this course like a simple playbook, and he's putting it all together very well. The Spanish up to 3rd, Sir Ben Ainsley, here he comes in 4th, but in the background he's flying a little high out of that jibe. Not his best work. Boat down in the water again as they slow up. The British are struggling with their manoeuvres, and it's all happening at the back of the fleet here as Seherstedt comes charging around the outside, and he's up to 3rd. Problems on board the British boat as the leaders streak away. Ainsley's not going to like what he sees there.
So after gate number 3, Australia's lead was 18 seconds. On gate 4, it went up to 21 seconds. And you're right, Stevie, look at this. Problems on board for Sir Ben Ainsley as they've got both holes in the water, barely moving, and they are just giving away positions as Denmark, Spain, and now the USA and France get past them.
The grinders all hate it when you've got to work that big wing sail back in the boat. When it splashes down like that on fill of water, takes a bit of clearing to get back up on the foils, and in the blink of an eye from 4th back to 7th, Sir Ben Ainsley faces an uphill struggle here. Look at that. Great Britain, Sir Ben Ainsley 7th, Peter Burling and New Zealand in 8th. That's 2 of the greatest sailors on the planet.
Denmark, boundary penalty clear, boundary penalty now clear.
Well, that was a boundary penalty given by the umpires there. That's a simple mistake for the Danish, unforced error. But at the moment, things are spreading out a little bit ahead, and it'll be interesting
France, you have a
Freddie says
penalty.
there.
France,
Do the boats
penalty.
manage to
Penalty
push
clear.
ahead and sail clean, as Freddie talked about on that last upwind leg? Should be easier for the leaders, Fred.
There's 2 loops on board the boat. There's the boat speed loop where they're trying to get the boat ripping through the water as fast as possible, and there's the tactical loop. When we're talking about the tactical loop, that's how they get the boat around the course on as short a length of time as possible, using the wind. And at the moment, the Australians are doing both of those really nicely.
Doing a fantastic job, and in the background, Nathan Outridge, Chris Draper, Francesco Bruni. Bit of a joke, called him a bit of a dad's army potentially, Fred, but that's a team with an awful lot of experience. They're new to it, But what a performance in only race 2 with only a few hours in the boat together.
We knew that Nathan shook it up after Sydney and brought on Chris Draper and Italian sailing hero Francesco Bruni, and they've got to grips with these boards really quickly, and they seem to have the boat pretty dialed in there, looking really level in terms of the platform. And when the platform is level like that and just out the water, it's going pretty quick.
Right face here,
Great
just a bit
to
of a
see.
build. Little pump. Yeah, lifting pressure. Make sure we're confident on that lay line.
Nothing you like to hear more than lifting pressure. Nathan Outridge there. That means the wind's turning you towards the mark, shortening your distance. The wind whisperer Outridge at it again. But I think what's noticeable is Outridge is doing a great job of giving his crew a commentary, sailing around the course fast as we approach gate 5 and Tom Slingsby in the lead.
Okay, adding rudders. Might not make it, let us want it in here. Rudders.
So Slingsby in control of this race. 18-second lead at gate number 3. Went up to 21 seconds at gate number 4. And as Japan comes around and Nathan Outridge, it's now 24 seconds. So he's adding 3 seconds, guys, almost every gate. But Tom Slingsby, really, this race started at the very beginning with him getting an amazing start.
Well, this is the 2 boats that had the 2 best starts, Todd. There'll be no coincidence there. We'll get analysis from that from Freddie Carr, I'm sure, as things goes on. And what's noticeable, 6th, 7th and 8th, Spittle, Ainsley and Burling. Who thought they'd see that on SailGP? But at this level, if you make mistakes, if you start behind, it's not going to be easy. And streaking away, as you said, Tom Slingsby and his Australian crew, look how smooth things look on board there, Fred.
Yeah.
Really locked in, and you can see how static the wing is. It's not moving in and out as we've seen traditionally with the first versions of these wings. It goes to show you how far the technology's come in between season 1 and season 2. These wings really are a fantastic bit of kit. You can be so dynamic with how you trim them. A massive step forwards.
Might have to do a coffee. That'll be both boards down. Yep. And just you clean the wing sheet, come back. Okay, let's do it now. Stand by.
Complex move coming up here for Australia. They're talking about 2 boards down, 2 quick turns. Let's see if they can execute a non-standard manoeuvre.
This is the umpires. Denmark boundary penalty. Denmark boundary penalty.
Hey, coming back in 2, 1.
So Denmark, their 2nd boundary penalty here in the last 2 legs. And we'll see if that costs them a position with the Americans sitting right behind them in 6th.
That was not a move of beauty there, Todd, I'm afraid. They really made a bit of a play of that, Australia. I think they were using it as practice, far enough ahead to use that as practice.
And the Australians looking so good from the very start of this 2nd race here at the Bermuda Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess. It will be the defending champions, Tom Slingsby, Australia's SailGP team, taking the first 2 races here in Bermuda.
Board down. Nice work, boys. Coffee black, boys. We did it. Oh, yeah, lattes all day. Come and going forward, just to glide.
Whoa, look at the Spanish crew there, rounding up at the mark. Have they saved it? Just about. What a rounding. Such a near miss as they come in 3rd place. Regain your focus, Phil. Need to get the boat to the finish. Struggling to get back on the foils. Can the Spanish get this boat back under control in time? Because Billy Besson and the French, they're coming at them fast. And the Danish sneak round the mark in 5th place. This is tight as we come towards the finish. The French team, Billy Besson in 4th. The Danish leap up out of the water, nearly losing control. This sprint to the finish, we thought it was going to be a simple leg, but nothing but. Who's going to get there in 3rd place? Looks like the Spanish are going to cling on. It's the Spanish and Besson flying into the line. There he is, Phil Robertson in 3rd, Billy Besson in 4th. Well, that gave us a bit of unspoken drama at the end of things there, Tom.
Good job, guys.
Who would have thought the very last leg would be the most exciting with the win already determined, and it will be Denmark getting the next position in 5th, just ahead of Team USA.
Well, look at that at the back. USA finishing there in 6th. So Ben Ainsley in 7th. Well, there's going to need to be some serious evaluation. These two crews, the USA and the British, have probably got two of the great coaches. Robbie Wilson with the British, Philippe Presti. Jimmy Spittle made a point of stealing him from the Australian crew. They're two of the great coaches in sailing. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do between races, because there need to be changes on board those two boats.
Let's have a look at this turning here from, was it Spain that got your heart rate going?
Just the wing doesn't go out there, Todd. The big wing sail, it's as if it's in the cleat or something sticking it in the middle. When you get around that mark, you need to let the wing sail out, otherwise that's going to happen there. So that's Florian Trittle, the wing trimmer on board there. He's a young Spanish guy, he's hot property in Olympic sailing. Be interesting to find out afterwards, was that a mistake by him? Or, well, we'll see who gets the blame for it, but that was an error.
And we talked about how high-tech these wings had got, and we've heard from the training that they've been doing in Bermuda that the guys are really struggling to get around the control of these new powerful wings, and I think that's what we saw here, Stevie. The wing pop might have been a little bit out of time, and they just struggled to ease the wing sheet down. They needed to depower at that precise moment. Luckily for them, they didn't capsize, and they held on to third place.
I think I put that on Florian Trittle, but he was actually on the other side of the boat running across, so that could have been the issue. The choreography of the manoeuvres on these boats is very complex, constantly evolving. We saw that tricky little Australian manoeuvre at the bottom of the leg there. So these teams, they're progressing all the time.
So maybe the save of the race goes to Spain as they hold on for third place. And once again, it is Australia and Tom Slingsby that get the win. Australia SailGP team make it 2 for 2. The defending champions pick it up right where they left off. Japan in second. Great finish for Nathan Outteridge to go along with his third place performance in race number 1. Spain finishes in third. France, Denmark, and the USA dropping down to 6th after their 4th in race number 1. They're going to be looking for something big in the third and final race. Great Britain and New Zealand. Who would have thought those last three would be in those positions here in any race? So the fleet now takes a moment to catch their breath. They'll regroup, do some small intel as we are able now to go on board with Japan SailGP team and their helmsman Nathan Outteridge. Nathan, that was quite a race. You guys finished third in the first race, but second in the second race. It seems like you're building towards something special here for the third and final race.
Yeah, Todd, yeah, it was a good race. It's quite a good race course out here. It's just fantastic to be in Bermuda. And that start for us was way better. The first start wasn't so good and we had to fight our way through. But that one, it was Japan and Australia back in the front like season 1. And we had a lot of fun in that race and looking forward to some more racing today.
Nathan, you've got some new faces on board, but some familiar ones. You've got, of course, Chris Draper, your good friend and broadcast partner in the 2017 America's Cup. You guys seem to be gelling right now, really only in the second race. What do you need to do in this third and final race to keep that momentum going forward to day number 2?
Yeah, no, it's good to have some guys that you know and trust on board, and sailing with Chris Draper is fantastic, and Francesco Bruni have really added to our team a lot from season 1, so it's been great. I think moving forward, we just need to, again, get another clean start and sail our own boat. You know, you can see there's a lot of mistakes on the race course, and if we can just sail clean, that's all that we can really target today. I think the Australians are sailing really well, and obviously we just need another top 3 and keep the points coming and get ready for tomorrow.
Cheers, Nathan. Thanks for your time. Good luck in race 3. Well, due to COVID-19 protocol, SailGP is not running its normal spectator and hospitality programs. However, the Bermudian government is allowing families to come to the water in their own boats, so those folks having maybe the best seat in the house. Still to come, the third and final race from day number 1.
The moment foiling began, they realized that reflexes are a bit more important in that instinct and growing up sailing fast boats. Different sizes for different wind speeds. Bigger the wing, the more power, the bigger your jumps. The cool thing about it is that you can spend as much or as little as you want and have a lot of fun. We don't have access to the boats right now, and I am a person who just needs to be on the water at least 5 times a week, otherwise I go insane. Thankfully, I met a couple of people just before the lockdown began, and they were into foiling windsurfing. And
It's right up my alley. You know, it foils, it's difficult, it's fast, and it's very similar to the Moth class, which is this really cool development class that really pushed foiling into sailing. You know, you're standing on the board, everything is connected between your hands on the boom and your feet on the board, and it's all very low tech. You know, there's no computer assistance, it's just you and the equipment and just go and make it happen. So the way that the foiling works on these boards is that you've got the front wing here, which generates all the lift, and then we've got the stabilizer, which does what it says, it stabilizes it. So you're getting lift here, and this is actually sucking, it's doing the opposite. So they kind of fight each other a bit, and that's how you get stability. You know, I've become slightly obsessed with it. I think it is definitely going to help me in the long run. It's interesting, I've seen a lot of other people buying very similar equipment, doing similar things, and there's plenty of online banter about who's going to be the best when we get to bring all our toys to the next SailGP event.
Well, here we are, back on board the Australian boat, winners of the 2 races. Under 4 minutes until the start of race 3, and a little chance for us to have a look at the highlights from race 2 here. Once again, the start proved absolutely crucial. 15 seconds to go, and it was Nathan Outridge and his Japanese crew with a very clear plan at the closer end of the start line to us. But at the bottom, once again, street fighting and reacting very last minute was Tom Slingsby. Thought Slingsby forced his way in again. That's 2 in a row where he's done a good job of making very critical decisions. His timing was perfect, and Outridge, that was a really, really calm start from Nathan Outridge. But at either end of the line, it was purely who hit the line on time at full speed. So I love that start. Calm planning from Outridge, street fighting reaction work from Tom Slingsby, and those 2 boats dominated this reach to mark number 1. Both boats already out ahead and making clear plans of what was to come as we saw the boat streak along this reach here. And what it did was it left Tom Slingsby with good control, able to sail the boat as we know they can, fast and smooth. It's very much many people working together on the boat. There's Tom Slingsby, Kyle Langford, Jason Waterhouse. They've had a lot of time together in the boat now, and it's like the 3 of them are driving the car. One doing the pedals, one doing the gear stick, and one doing the steering wheel. And that work together needs to be so well done.
Well, there you see the fans lucky enough to have their own boats socially distanced here in the Great Sound as they get ready for the 3rd and final race here on day 1. Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess here in the beautiful waters of Bermuda. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Freddie Carr, and Allie Vance with you as we get set for the 3rd and final race. Really, guys, day 1 has been dominated by Australia.
Dominated by Australia, but also you've seen some other boats fly up the leaderboard that you wouldn't necessarily have seen. The French and the Spanish have had fantastic days so far.
Just an absolute beautiful shot as we get ready for race 3, the final race of the day here at Bermuda Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess. Well, I'll tell you what, the Australians could not have scripted it any better, Stevie, Freddie. They have looked sharp from the get-go. Their starts have been the key, and they have not had to come back through the fleet because, as Nathan Outridge just talked about, guys, once you're in the back with the talent that's in front of you and 7 boats, it's almost impossible to find those passing lanes.
Suddenly all things shut down when you're at the back of the fleet, don't they, Freddie? You're just completely out of options really, really quickly here. And that's what makes the start so crucial. 56 seconds to go here. The French trying to dive in on a gap there. Very tight on board the French boat there. Small crash on board things there. Let's hope there's no damage. Really tight moment. Besson diving in there. Umpire coming on.
This is the umpires. Penalty France, relative Denmark.
Here we go.
Penalty
to France relative to Denmark. Look at him dive inside there, Besson. How's the Danish team supposed to get out of the way? What a manoeuvre from Besson. They're going to need to refocus here. Here we go. We're coming back. Just 19 seconds to go to the start. And I can already see Tom Slingsby and Nathan Outridge coming in here onto the start with just 11 seconds to go here. Slightly confused on board at the moment. It's going to be about last minute. Outridge and Slingsby at the top of the line, 3 seconds to go. It looks like Slingsby's timed it well again. It's Slingsby across the line first, leading away. Ben Ainsley and his British crew, great start out the middle of the line. And the New Zealand team of Peter Burling, that's a little bit more we're used to seeing there. Ben Ainsley back off the start line. Great work from the British crew there, and he should have control as we move into mark number 1.
So it's a high-speed drag race to mark number 1. Who's going to get there first? And a much better start for Ben Ainsley in Great Britain.
Mark number 1, it's Great Britain and Ben Ainsley round first. Tom Slingsby in second place, and Peter Burling dives in third place there. Ben Ainsley now, he's got a chance to make a very clear plan as we head downwind. We're on board with Tom Slingsby, second place at this point.
Stand by. Come on, 4 down. Yep. 2. 5 plus.
That was a very clear jibe on board the Australian boat there. That was some slick work from the Australian crew out in front of the New Zealand crew. Ben Ainsley, well, the British crew, they touched the water there. That wasn't perfect. Small gain for Slingsby. And in the background, Outridge has had to jibe away in 7th place. Not the best start for the Japanese crew there, but it's Peter Burling and his New Zealand crew now. They're in this race, but they've dropped from 3rd to 5th already, just not quite tight enough on their manoeuvres. And at this stage, they're going to be planning ahead to the gate. Anticipate a left turn for the leading boats. We've often seen a little bit more wind out on the right-hand side of the course. Left turn at the bottom, it's going to take you towards more wind. Here comes Sir Ben Ainsley, Tom Slingsby, and once again on that right-hand side, there's a little bit less land mass on that side. Great opportunity for the teams to attack. And in fact, Sir Jimmy Spittle there, up to 3rd place. Great rounding from Spittle. But it's the Australians first to blink as they tack away from Ainsley, looking for clear air.
Right, turning.
Nice tack that, Freddie.
Very nice tack. I'm judging that tack on the new leeward hull. So as you look at it, the hull on the right-hand side of the screen didn't touch the water, and there was no violent movement as they landed on the new board. Superb flight control by Luke Parkinson.
That's what we want to see, really. We expect that of this British crew. Look how stable that platform is. They want the boat heeling towards them. They want the boat slightly tipped towards them. We're on board now with Sir Ben Ainsley, communicating Ian Jensen on the wing. Luke Parkinson, the West Australian, loves flying these boats high, but needs to maybe be a bit more average today and keep the boat fast.
And we're talking about heeling it towards them. I'm looking right now, and the Brits have got 1 degree of heel towards them. That's a really nice number. That powers up the boat beautifully, and that's why the Brits have got a nice lick of speed on this first upwind.
Nice speed. Look at that, 100-metre gain. The British are boosting away from the fleet here, Todd.
What a performance by Ben Ainsley out of the top 3 in race 1, finishing in 7th in race number 2, and now an opportunity here in race 3 to get the top spot and 10 points. And guys, let's not forget, as we get to day number 2, that final race, that podium race, you definitely want to be in that.
That's right, it's a long regatta here, and someone like Ben Ainsley will know you don't always have to start fast. You need to win the final tomorrow afternoon to win the event here in Bermuda. But uncharacteristically, Sir Ben Ainsley and his crew will be thinking about having to get to that final at the moment, because they've not had the best start to things, but there's no better way of going about it than getting back and winning the last race of the day. Ben Ainsley setting up attack on the Australians here. Should be able to block the wind of the Australians, choke their fuel pipe all the way in. Expect 2 tacks in a row. Australia, then Great Britain.
All right.
This is going to hurt the Australian crew here, Freddie. Good opportunity for the Americans and Spithill. Can he get back into the race, Freddie Carr?
Well, as the Brits went over there to cover the Australians, it really did open up the door there for the Spanish and the Americans coming in from the left-hand side of the course.
We're coming into gate number 3 here. It's Sir Ben Ainslie in control, but Tom Slingsby, he just will not go away. Can Phil Robertson squeeze round the mark in second place ahead of Australia? I don't think so. His speed's slow because he's trying to steal a bit of distance in there, and it's going to be Sir Ben Ainslie and the Great British team round first. Australia and Slingsby in second, and third place for Phil Robertson. This race is going to go all the way to the end, though. This is no chance for mistake at the moment. Sail the boat fast and on the edge. I'm surprised how much Jimmy Spithill and his American crew lost at the top of that beat. Real sign that it's very shifty, and that means this race has got a lot to play.
Spain SailGP team coming off a third-place finish in race number 2. Phil Robertson, Florian Trittel, the youngest squad in the fleet, they've shown great improvement here. So if they could get a top 3 again in race number 3, that would be huge.
Here we go. Nice gust here, Nate. Go down quick. Nice, buddy. Correct.
That's the voice of Chris Draper there, talking about the wind coming onto the boat for Nathan Outridge. Constant communication, is required to sail these boats smoothly. Here we jibe.
Hey, here we go.
What are we thinking here, Freddie? We like that left turn at the bottom if you're Ben Ainslie, don't we? We've seen better wind that side.
It seems like that left turn in the bottom right-hand corner has got a nice bit of wind stacked up there. And if you're in the lead, you can dictate how you get to the bottom of the course. So I'd expect Ainslie to do one jibe, maybe a jibe round up, and get into the bottom. No, stand corrected. It looks like they're on lay line and going to head out to the right-hand side.
Going to be tight here, possibly one more jibe for Great Britain. I like where Slingsby is here. Slingsby's got the inside at the bottom mark here. Could be a sharp jibe for Slingsby. It's going to be really tight. No, he dips behind. Great last-minute decision by Slingsby. Here we go, the two boats split the course. It's absolutely neck and neck, but I like where Tom Slingsby's heading. For me, good call by Slingsby, heading to better breeze. And Sir Ben Ainslie, has he seen something we haven't? Because I love what Slingsby's done.
Stand by.
And it looks like Spain and the USA like what Slingsby's done as well, as they're going to follow him to that side of the course. So a roll of the dice right now for Sir Ben Ainslie, who's in desperate need of points for his squad here in race 3.
Well, this is the final upwind leg of the race, and this is the last chance for these teams to make a move, Freddie.
And I'm looking at the wind speeds on the boat from Australia and Great Britain right now. The Australians have 35 kilometres an hour and the British only have 30. More wind speed translates into more boat speed. The right-hand side has got more wind speed.
Could be a good call by Tom Slingsby then. We're moving upwind here nicely. The boat's pushing right out to that right-hand boundary. They obviously like what they see there. And this cross, there we go. Look at that, Freddie. We're not as stupid as we sound. That's a gain for Tom Slingsby. He's moved into the lead. Great tactical decision-making from Slingsby. What can Ainslie do next? We know the next half of this upwind is very shifty. Opportunity is out there, Todd. This race is still not over, despite the fact we're coming into the last 4 or 5 minutes of it.
Well, especially what we saw in the second race on that last rounding by Denmark and Spain. So everything left to play for here. And if you're Australia, you are doing no wrong. Winners of race 1 and 2.
Angle.
That's a lovely tack by the Australians. They're used to being out in front, and they're sailing this boat nicely, Freddie.
Sailing the boat really nicely. I'm going to get a little bit geeky here. The rudder differential, which means the difference between the two rudders, sucking and lifting, is the same. The camber in the wing between the Brits is the same, and the wing twist is the same. This is a tactical race.
Tactical one on starboard tack with the right of way. It's Sir Ben Ainslie. There does seem to be more wind that side as the Australians dip behind. It's another lead change on this upwind leg. Once again, Sir Ben Ainslie finding more wind this side. That surely means, as we come to the top, advantage Slingsby as he's sailing towards more wind. There's 5 metres in it with just 300 metres to go until this final upwind gate. It's going to come down to who finds a gust in these last few minutes, and Sir Ben Ainslie looks like he's got something there at over 60 kilometres an hour.
Okay, stand by.
big angle change for Sir Ben Ainslie there. He's turned away, but now he uses that to his advantage. Tack towards the mast, potentially going to save some distance here. This could be a masterful move from Ainslie, but he is on port tack. Wind coming from the left-hand side of the boat. If Australia's close, that's going to mean that he has to keep out of his way. But no, Sir Ben Ainslie, well, he's found something from nowhere, and he's crosses ahead, but I think they're going to split the gate at exactly the same time again. Any mistakes now, and this race is done. I like where Tom Slingsby's turning. He leads for me around the gate number 5, and it's all about the downwind's leg here. Who's going to push hardest? How do you sail these boats past down here, Fred?
Identical bearaways there. Really high pressure moment in the race for the pilots as they go from low speed upwind to high speed downwind, and both Waterhouse and Parkinson nailed those bearaways, setting up a crucial jibe on each boundary.
We know Luke Parkinson, he loves to fly the boat high. The higher you fly the boat, the faster you go, but the more on the edge you are. I can guarantee you Luke Parkinson will be pushing this to the absolute limit. Let's hope he doesn't push it too far.
And just like that, Spain has given up 2 positions, so they drop now back to 5th as the USA and Japan gets past them. But the race, guys, really is on for 1st and 2nd. Australia, winners of race 1 and 2, looking for the clean sweep today on day 1 here at Bermuda Sail Grand Prix, presented by Hamilton Princess. But Great Britain and Sir Ben Ainslie seem to have found their legs here on this final race today.
They're definitely nice split down here at the moment. Looks like a good move for Slingsby, but they've both got a couple more manoeuvres to do here at the bottom. Potentially 2 jibes for Australia. Ben Ainslie can perhaps get in with just 1 more jibe. Tactically, the advantage sits with Slingsby, but there is still an opportunity for Ainslie at the bottom, and expect Slingsby to try and lock this race down now and close out the British crew. Oh no, at the moment it looks like Slingsby, oh, that's my bad call there. Slingsby's managed to get the boat down. There was no opportunity for Ainslie. That must have been a magical mode that Carl Langford found with that big wing sail, because he didn't look like he was making the game for a while. And at the gate number 6, could this be 3 from 3? Wow, what a comeback to SailGP. He's had a year to think about the beating he took from Ben Ainslie in Sydney, and what a way to turn it around and deal with it. Pure class from Tom Slingsby, Carl Langford, Jason Waterhouse, Sam Newton. And on board the Australian boat here as they cross the finish line in 1st place. That's 3 from 3. What a performance there, and that's high fives, and now well-deserved high fives.
A clean sweep for Australia's SailGP team with Tom Slingsby at the helm. Great Britain comes through off of that 7th finish in race number 2, so a big push up the ladder for them into 2nd place, and it looks like the Americans are going to hold on for 3rd. But guys, what can you say? Tom Slingsby, you touched on it, Stevie. After that beat down, you know Slingsby was not happy about what Ainslie got done on their home waters, and he repaid him right here in Bermuda.
It was a really, really tight race. It's a nice comeback from Jimmy Spittle in this race. Got himself up through to 3rd. He had a very dodgy moment in the middle of the race. They won't have enjoyed that. And for me, probably the guy most under the pressure at the beginning of the day was Billy Besson, the French skipper. He's really not performed as we can expect. But if he can keep ahead of Japan on this sprint to the finish here, it's going to be 3rd place for Jimmy Spittle and the USA crew. But on board France, Billy Besson, with that new addition to the crew, Lee McMillan, I think they're going to come away from today really quite happy. They'll have answered a few critics, me amongst them. And that's there. Coming across now in 5th, Japan, Nathan Outridge. Solid, if not spectacular day for the Japanese.
Well, the consistency award of the day goes to Australia, but you've talked about France. Remember, race 1, they got 2nd, 4th in race 2, and 4th in race 3. For Japan, it was 3rd in race number 1, a 2nd in race 2, and a 5th in race 3.
Well, and here we go, this sprint to the finish. Here we see Todd, the Danes, pushing hard in here, but at the back of the picture, that's not something anyone in the sailing community expected. They came in with the tag of the greatest sailors on the planet, the Kiwis, Burling and Toot. Well, they're new to these boats, but there's a lot of crews that haven't had a lot of time in these boats out here, and they're going to need to go ashore tonight and have a very, very serious debriefing, because for Peter Burling and Blair Took and that crew to be finishing back in 8th place, well, that's something none of us expected.
Not only finished in 8th place in the final race of the day, but they finished in 8th on race 2 as well, behind Great Britain. And as you pointed out, though, they're probably the least amount of time on this boat, so they will figure it out. Two of the best sailors in the world, of course, coming off that tremendous campaign to defend the America's Cup in Auckland earlier this season.
Happy just cruising here, right? Happy? Yeah, full cruise. I see for this.
So 3 races up, 3 races down. Australia with the win in all 3. So day 1 is complete as we take a look at the final results. Race number 3. Once again, it's Australia getting the max points, 10. Ben Ainsley comes back, and Great Britain gets second. The USA finishing in third with France, Japan, Spain, Denmark, and big surprise, New Zealand in 8th place. And while we have an opportunity, let's talk with the man and his team. Tom Slingsby getting it done 3 races in a row.
Yeah, it's a great day.
Hey Tom, what a performance there. Disappointing result in Sydney. That seems a long time ago now after 3 first places today. What was the secret to your performance out there today?
I don't know if there was a secret. It was more just avoid the carnage, and I think by getting good starts we were able to stay out of the pack, and a couple of times I turned around and watched the carnage going on behind me, and I was glad I wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, it certainly looked very tight back down the fleet there, but you seem to be reading the wind shifts pretty well. Was it wind shifts or was it finding more wind that was the key to the performance today?
For sure, we felt in sync with the shifts a couple of times there. Like, we didn't boundary tack, and we just thought we were on a shift, and we tacked early and tried to piece together a few wind shifts. And then I think we're just clean. We didn't make too many errors. We had a couple of bad tacks here and there, but we recovered from them really quickly. So really good job by the team.
Yeah, it must feel pretty good sailing in after Ainsley, Burling, Spittle, Outeridge, all of them trailing in your wake all day. Fantastic performance. I'm sure there'll be a lot for you guys to learn overnight. And thanks very much, and good luck tomorrow, mate.
Yes, thank you very much.
So congratulations once again to Tom Slingsby and Australia SailGP team as they win all 3 races on day 1 as the 2021 season of SailGP gets underway. Wow. So hold your breath. That's just day 1. Day 2 coming tomorrow from the beautiful Great Sound here in Bermuda. On behalf of Stevie Morrison, Freddie Carr, and Allie Vance, I'm Todd Harris saying so long for now. Once again, it's Australia winning races 1, 2, and 3 for a dominant lead. All 30 points going the way of the defending champion Australians, and they'll come back and try to do it again. Until then, we will see you. I'm Todd Harris, signing off for now.